We will be live streaming going forward from now on every race. We will continue to upload the streams to the podcast places. So please tell your friends about us. Get your family involved. Formula One is the fastest growing sport in the world. There's about 100 million people just got through watching the Austrian Grand Prix. So have all your friends and family become part of it. Good morning and welcome, Formula One fans. This is your Formula One News Hour. I'm Jonathan Steele, your host. And we have the Hungarian Grand Prix from Budapest in Hungary this morning. And good news, the weather is beautiful. So we should have quite a race. Yesterday, of course, Q3 ended with a surprise of all surprises in that Max Verstappen lost out on the pole position to, you guessed it, Lewis Hamilton, the guy that's been complaining that the Red Bull cars are just too fast and they got to come up with rules to slow them down. So what is Mr. Hamilton going to claim this morning? Is it that we need to slow down the Mercedes cars, or should we speed up the rest of the cars? Talking of speed, we had an amazing qualifying session yesterday because if you remember the first race of the season, we had a gap between the pole position and the number 20th car of less than maybe half a second. Well, yesterday it was 17 tenths of a second. So that is the smallest gap between pole and the last place. Talking of last place, Logan Sargent, and then comes and the next row, George Russell, and then Alexander Albon, Pierre Gasly, and going on then Lance Stroll and Daniel Ricciardo back after a hiatus of being a backup driver. Then we've got Esteban Ocon and Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari starting on the 12th row. Not good at all. Then we've got Nico Hülkenberg and Sergio Perez. Not a good day for Perez yesterday either. Then Fernando Alonso and Valtteri Bottas. A great day for Alfa Romeo, hence I'm wearing the Alfa Romeo shirt today. Then Charles Leclerc, Joe Granu. Then a real surprise, I guess, maybe not after the last couple of weeks. Third and fourth is the McLarens, and then of course your pole is Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen starting in second place. But I guess the guys at AlphaTauri are happy with the Danny Ricciardo qualifying some 3 or 4 positions ahead of Yuki Tsunoda up there, I should say down there in 19th place. So, but I guess the talk of the town yesterday and maybe for today, hopefully, is Alfa Romeo and McLaren. Is McLaren going to get a podium today? I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. I think that they are going to come in definitely within the top 3, maybe even a second place. We'll have to see during the warm-up to today's race. Lando Norris kind of ran over a curb and thinks he may have damaged his floor a little bit, but no further reports on that, so we'll just have to see. But we do have in Oscar Piastri probably one of the best rookie drivers to come along since Lewis Hamilton and then of course Max Verstappen. So we're about to get going for the beginning of the formation lap. 15 seconds to count down for the formation lap to go. So while we're doing the formation lap, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors for today's race. Of course, they've been with us since the beginning, and we'll start with Moms for Liberty. Moms for Liberty, an organization dedicated to improving the education that our kids receive in the schools. Want to get away from social and cultural things and race things and get to math and English and science, the kinds of things that are going to help our kids when they graduate from school, get into college or maybe go to trade school, the things that are going to help them make a living and support their families and make this country what it has been for many, many years, and that's a great country. So please go to momsforliberty.org. That is momsforliberty.org. And then folks, as I've said before, another one of our sponsors is is a company that helps people in need, in that they are a crowdfunding company. They have no censorships. So it doesn't matter what you do or what you are in life. They're just dedicated to helping people during hard times. So please go to givesendgo.com, givesendgo.com for all of your crowdfunding needs. And that's not just if you're in need because something bad has happened to you. Crowdfunders today help raise money for people that are wanting to start a business. So please go out. That's givesendgo.com. We've got Lewis Hamilton leading the field around, and actually, interestingly enough, he slowed them right down. Now that's probably to help his teammate George Russell, who is starting off all the way at the back of the pack. I say all the way at the back. I think he's on the second row from the back. I think he qualified 17th or 18th, maybe it's 19th. That was yesterday. Who can remember what happened yesterday? Well, I can, fortunately. So anyway, De Vries Sargent, the Williams cars didn't do quite as well as I thought they would yesterday. But remember, we had such a close, really close field from the pole position to 20th position that it's really hard to say whether one car had much of an advantage over the other. Max Verstappen complained all day yesterday about the inability for his car to stick to the road. So he's having real grip problems. So is he going to suffer some more from that today? We'll find out. I can't see the firewalls. I'm also in the technology field, guys. I can't see the walls of the tire. It looks like yellow, which would suggest, I believe, I haven't seen the setup for today, but I'm thinking. But anyway, we are about to start. The green flag is down. It is 3, 2, 1, and lights out, and off we go. And it's going, and Lewis Hamilton's got an excellent start, and so has the McLaren. But let's see, Verstappen's got him on the inside. As Verstappen goes into the first corner, Verstappen is going to edge out Hamilton, and McLaren of Lando Norris has edged out, and McLaren's challenging Verstappen now, but Lewis Hamilton, what has happened? He's all the way back now in 4th position. So all 3 cars on the starting grid, the top 2 grid, got Lewis Hamilton, and he's gone from 1st to 4th within half a lap here of the Hungarian Grand Prix. So not a good start for Hamilton. I don't know if he didn't have a grip, didn't have acceleration, or just didn't have what it takes now to stay at the top. But certainly he's lost out big time. You've got Verstappen, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri all ahead of him now, followed by the 2 Ferraris, which is kind of interesting to see because it is both Ferraris. So Carlos Sainz had an excellent start. And Sergio Perez is up to about 6th, so it's makes look he's gained about 3-4 positions. So they are on the medium tires, so that all except Lance Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda, who are on soft. But Verstappen now has opened up a full 1.5 second lead over Lewis Hamilton. So very interesting. I thought it was Lando Norris that had got by Lewis Hamilton in the beginning. In fact, it was Oscar Piastri. So it's Verstappen, Piastri, Norris, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz. Those are your top 6. Followed by Alonso and Perez, Hülkenberg. So those guys have really not moved at all. I think Perez has moved up from 9th, where Hülkenberg now is. Following out, we've got Pierre Gasly is in the pit. The tires the wheel just absolutely disintegrated on Gasly's car. That's got to mean that somebody actually hit that wheel. There's no way that's going to be just from race damage or just, well, you could have a defective wheel, but I don't think so. I think we're going to get a replay here in just a moment that's going to show exactly what happened to Pierre Gasly's right rear wheel. The two Ferraris actually fighting each other for position right now, which early in the race is kind of interesting. But the other interesting thing is that Leclerc is on the medium tires and Carlos Sainz is on soft. So you got Sainz, Stroll, Tsunoda, and well, Gasly's in the pit. But we've got George Russell starting on hard tires. So the pit strategies here are going to be, there could be a 3-stop or a 1-stop. There doesn't appear to be any strategies for a 2-stop. So the reason probably for the 3-stop strategy, and I would think that George Russell's on a 1-stop strategy, but because of the hard tires, starting on hard tires. Oh, Perez has started on hard also, so that's going to be interesting. But anyway, this track is a short track, but it's got 14 turns. All the turns actually are quite fast. They're not short turns, but it looks like Pierre Gasly. Oh, it's Esteban Ocon. What is going on with the Alpha Tauri cars? Wow, both of them in the pits. What? Maybe they ran into each other. Anyway, we're going to get a replay now so we can see what happened. Lewis Hamilton got a good start. It's just he didn't seem to have the grip in the cars, but
sort of stayed ahead, but Verstappen got the inside line.
So yeah, Verstappen got the inside going into the chicane right at the beginning, and then Oscar Piastri came up and got past his teammate and Lewis Hamilton as they wwent through that turn. So we're going to see here what happened with Joe Granu in the Alfa Romeo. He's
of avoiding that. I think Daniel Ricciardo.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm just watching on the replay here. Okay. Whoa. So that's what happened. Okay. So someone, I can't make out the car, ran into the back of. No, both the Alpine cars ran into each other. So that's kind of interesting. So Gasly and Esteban Ocon have put each other out of the Hungarian Formula One race here, and sad way to start the day. You don't see that very often, but unfortunately they have put each other out of the race through what just looks like the cars just got tangled up going into the turn number 1 here. And you can see now the right rear tire of Pierre Gasly is leaving the car and goes off into the dirt. So he's out of his car, obviously not a happy camper. And Max Verstappen, DRS has just been enabled, and Max Verstappen has almost a 2-second lead on Oscar Piastri, who has a 3-second lead on his teammate, who has a 4-second lead on Lewis Hamilton. What has happened to Lewis Hamilton? You know, this reminds me of the first race of the season. Remember when we had all of the cars really bunched up within half a second during qualifying, and then we get into the race and there's just no competitions. It's just gone. All competition is out the window. But we do have a competition early on here with the Ferraris fighting each other. You got Fernando Alonso battling Carlos Sainz. You've got Sergio Perez is battling Alonso. He's probably got DRS by the looks of it. Something's kind of gone wrong with those Aston Martin cars, I think, because they just don't have the speed that they had. You know, now it's 3-4 races ago, but where they've lost a little speed, you've got McLaren really finding pace. And both drivers performing really, really well. But I mentioned earlier, I've got my Alfa Romeo shirt on today because I think that's Excuse me, allergies again, guys. This is the first race, I think, this year that both Alfa Romeos qualified in the top 10, and they are currently running. Bottas is in 12th, and where's the other one? Joe Granu is in 16th. So they've lost a little from their start, but it's early. We're only 6 laps into a 70-lap race. That's right, folks, 70 laps on this particular day, and that's because this track is quite short. If you remember yesterday, I said that it's about 2 miles long. So, that's really a stretchy 2 miles. So, but it's a fast circuit because all but one, maybe 2 of the corners are really fast. And I'm gonna have a little sip of tea here because it is allergy time again. Yeah, they're not so bad this morning, but we'll see.
The position advantage, he should stay ahead.
That helps. Okay, so where are we? So we're 7 laps in. We now have, I think, pretty much settled in to what's going to be the race for a little while. Let's hope it gets a little more interesting. There is, other than between the top 4, the next 6 or 8 cars, there's not a huge gap. So we're seeing now just Tsunoda has picked up 6 places. George Russell now is up to 13th. Magnussen has climbed up 5 places. Hulkenberg has dropped 2 places. So Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez were down to less than a second. So we have... in fact, I just saw Sergio Perez's car as he came off that straightaway had DRS enabled. So I think it's just going to be a matter of time before, Perez takes over that 7th place position from Fernando Alonso. So they've got to have changed something in the setup of those Aston Martin cars, because as I was just saying, the last 2-3 races they really have not performed the way they did after especially the second race of the season, where the car was quite fast. As I said, Alonso was making podium, and even Lance Stroll was up there in the top 5 or 6 at the end of the race. So yeah, something's not quite right. I'm going to think in the setup, but I don't know. It's a puzzle. What is not a puzzle is, and there goes Sergio Perez past Fernando Alonso right now as he goes into it, and Alonso is going to challenge him. No. So Perez now is up to 7th, and Alonso has dropped to 8th. So a nice clean pass there, no real problems, and quite fast. There was nothing that they could do. Joe Granu has got a penalty of 5 seconds. What did he do wrong? They're going to show a replay of first here of Sergio Perez going past Fernando Alonso on the inside of the turn. But let's see if they'll tell us why Joe Granu. Maybe they are blaming him. Maybe they're blaming Joe Granu for the mix-up with the AlphaTauri cars of Gasly and Ocon right at the beginning of the race. Other than that, there's not been any real incidents that have happened in this race so far, other than that first half lap where we had Hamilton's kind of picking up a little bit. Norris is picking up a little bit on his teammates. So, but they're still now. Verstappen's already got a 2.5 second lead, and we're on lap 9. So if we were to just keep going at this pace, we could probably say that. If it keeps going like this, Verstappen's going to win this race by about 30-35 seconds, which is not really a race, folks. It's kind of everybody's having a drive in the country, racing each other, with the exception of Max Verstappen, who's just out there all by himself. So, as we talked about yesterday, we got a Williams car of Alex Albon in the pit changing tires. The guys that are on soft tires are going to come in. They're going to be on a 3-stop strategy. So they're going to start coming in. He's come in a little early. We would expect him to come in at around lap 13, and the medium tire guys to come in at around lap 17 of 19. So we've seen the first one. Albon is back out on the track, and that puts him back in 18th position, which is dead last in the running cars because we got Ocon and Gasly out. I'm still trying to figure out why Alex Albon got this penalty of 5 seconds. Hopefully they'll well when the Sky Sports guys, because they're professionals, right, when they run out of things to talk about, which is going to be, well, I think we'll see the tire changes coming up here, so there won't be the end of it, but as soon as they run out of it, in fact here they're coming down to pit lane right now as we speak. 1, 2, 3 cars. Let's see, it looks like we've got okay, so I can't see that. I think that's Alonso. In the pits. Nicky Tsunoda in the pit. It's Yuki Tsunoda, not Nicky. And so we got Albon, Bottas, now Lance Stroll. Yeah, Lance Stroll. So that was Lance Stroll and not Alonso coming in for tire changes. But you're going to see all of the guys that were on soft, and they are going to a hard tire. So they're gonna go here probably through lap 50 to 55, and then swap from the hard tires back to the medium tires to finish the race. No, they're gonna go. They started on medium, so no, they can't have started on medium and changing already. Well, they could. Wouldn't make sense, but. So the Ferraris are talking about switching positions. That's because they're on a different strategies. Leclerc has got medium tires, and Sainz has got, and so they're putting up the pit window now. I said lap 19, so it's kind of dead in the middle. And here's Yuki Tsunoda. Let's see, they're showing a replay of his tire changes. They had a problem getting the left front tire off. So that was about a 6-second pit stop, so that will not help him in his endeavors to climb up the finishing stop. Whereas Danny Ricciardo is currently in 13th, and we're just watching the Alfa Romeo of Joe Granu pulling back out after his pit stop. So right now we don't have any changes in the top 6. We've got changes underneath that. Perez, who is on a hard tire strategy, he has moved up to 7th. Alonso and Hülkenberg are maintaining. Hülkenberg's kind of hanging on to 9th position. Interesting now, we got George Russell, though, who started all the way at the back of the pack. He is now in 10th position. So George is having a really nice drive. He's come up a long way. How many laps have we got now? 12 or 13? Anyway, back to the tire change. I was saying I was estimating lap 19, and they just put a thing up a moment ago saying between lap 17 and lap 25. So it's just going to depend on what the tire degradation is like out there, how these cars and the drivers are treating their tires. We're watching. We're just watching Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen driving, and it does look like that he is out on a Sunday afternoon drive. The way that car is handling through the track. If you remember, I've always talked about the difference between these cars during qualifying and race conditions. And yesterday we saw really a really nice qualifying out of Hamilton to take pole position. But now we're seeing what's happening in the real world right now. Hamilton is 8-9 seconds behind Verstappen, and so he's losing a little, about 3/4 of a second per lap to the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. That's not even a race, because if you've got 70 laps, like Hamilton's going to be 40 seconds back, maybe a little more, 45 seconds back, even though he started on pole position. That's where his position is going to be as it relates to Max Verstappen. So, like I said, the setup for the race is very different to qualifying. Of course, during qualifying, they can use the DRS whenever they want, which in the race, they can only use DRS if they're within 1 second of the car in front. So right now, we don't have, excuse me, we don't have anybody that's in any danger of being passed. And we're in lap 13 now of 70. I think the best thing about this race right now is the scenery is beautiful. It's a beautiful sunny day in Hungary, hardly a cloud in the sky, and the McLarens are performing exceptionally well. Where's my Alfa Romeo guys? Bottas is back up to 15th. Remember, he stopped for tires, and his teammate Joe Granu, who also stopped for tires now, is back dead last, behind 5 seconds behind Yuki Tsunoda. Lance Stroll, I don't know what's going on with his car, or Alonso for that matter. They're 19. Alonso's 19 seconds out from Verstappen, and Stroll is 40 seconds out. So it's only going to be probably by lap 25 we're going to have Verstappen lapping some of the drivers, and we've got Logan Sargent coming into the pit for his first tire change. Let's see how they go. Let's see. 1, 2, done. Ooh, what's going on with the pit stops? That's about 4 seconds. 4.5 seconds. Something's not going right in the pits today for a lot of folks. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if it's because of the temperatures in Hungary. Hungary doesn't really get that hot, not like here in Austin, Texas. But it looks like the wheels are sticking on the splines. So that's kind of really interesting. Because the wheel guy's having a trouble. In this case, it was the left front wheel, left rear wheel, sorry. Left rear wheel, where they had trouble getting that wheel off. And Max Verstappen now is so far ahead of everybody that you can't even see any of the cars. You think he's the only guy on the track, just driving around and around and around. I just hope it does not get into one of those boring races where we don't really see a lot of passing going on. Although we've got somebody trying right now. We've got Sergio Perez trying to get past Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, and Sainz is complaining, if I see Checo is going to pass me, I'll box, but not yet. Okay, so I guess he's on soft tires, that's why. So he doesn't have the grip anymore. He's got 15 laps on those soft tires, so he is going to just drop into the box, as they call him, pit. It's the pit lane, get new tires, and Perez will take over that 6th position. So Perez is having quite a nice day now. He didn't have such great qualifying, but he has come up into, I would say, a very respectable place now. He's going to be in 6th, and that's going to be about 3 seconds behind. And the Ferraris of Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz is coming in, and he is going to change tires. So let's see if he has any problems getting any of those wheels off as he comes down the pit road. He's about, he locked up, had to lock up. He's going too fast as he entered pit lane. He comes in and stop, and 1, 2, 3. That was perfect. About 2.7 seconds, I'm guessing. See what they come up and tell me it was in just a second. As he comes back out of pit lane, they haven't put his actual stop time up yet. I'm sure they will. Total time in the pits was 21 seconds, but they didn't give us the actual stop time. But I'm guessing under 3 seconds, more than 2 and under 3 seconds is what that's in. So there we go. Sorry about that, Andre. Don't worry, he'll get rid of it. I find these even, watching and listening to these races here after 60 years, I still find it quite as exciting as I did all those years ago. I guess it's in your blood. Who we got? We got Hamilton coming in for tires right now. So Hamilton, very nice stop for Hamilton, 2.8 seconds. So maybe half a second more than he wanted, but he's not going to complain about that. That's going to drop him back. He's back to 8th. Where are they going to put him? Let's see. Hulkenberg coming into pit lane is what I'm seeing now. So we're getting all of the medium tires guys coming in now, which is kind of early. We're on lap 17, 18. We're on lap 18 with 17 down. And Hamilton has dropped back to 8th position, which moves Perez up to 5th, and he's on a hard tire. Perez is on a one-stop strategy, I think, with those hard tires. So everybody is moving from the medium to the hard, the two-stop strategy guys, and that means that they're going to finish the race on the soft tires. So the McLarens are coming in now. They're bringing in Lando Norris on lap 19. That's, if you remember, that's what I kind of predicted they would be doing, is changing these tires at around 19. The window, if you remember, was from 17 to 25. So they're probably not getting as much out of the tires as they would have liked, but he's in, he's stopped, he's gone. So that's a very nice pit stop. 2.3 seconds for McLaren on that pit stop. And Leclerc, what is going on with Leclerc? That 9.4 seconds. So they had problems. So they switched between McLaren and Leclerc 9.4 seconds. That's the end of his day, folks. Not really, but it's a really, really nasty blow to him. He's all the way back there in 11th position now, fighting Bottas for that 10th position. So let's see if Bottas, who's got probably 6-7 laps on his car, and I just see they're bringing in Oscar Piastri for tires. So when are they going to bring in Max Verstappen? It's obviously Max Verstappen. I think he's right at he's 28 seconds. So Verstappen will come back out in second position for about 1 to 2 laps, because Piastri is only 8 seconds behind, and he's going to have the lead. And Piastri, I don't know why they're not showing us. They're showing us the battle between Bottas and Leclerc, and now we see Piastri 1, 2, nicely done. Little over 2.5 seconds there. Beautiful pit stop for Piastri. So that drops him back to, it's going to be 4th, but remember, Alonso has yet to pit, so he's going to go back up to 2nd. So we're going to get the running order back again, and we just watched Piastri. Norris, passing his teammate Piastri. So, but at this point in the race, they're not going to care. They're not going to battle each other badly for position 3rd or 4th. Well, maybe towards the end, because remember, I picked one of them to be on the podium. At the way things are looking, we could actually see both McLarens on that podium at the end of the race. We're coming in now. We're just a little over a quarter of the way through. We're at 90. We're on lap 20 out of 70, and we're on board with. Who are we on board with? They're not showing. I can't see. It looks like. Sorry, can't see who it is. And the advertisement's not showing up. Talking of advertising, MoneyGram's got to be pretty upset. They haven't been on TV much the last couple of races. If you remember, at the beginning of the year, excuse me, they were on all the time. And now Hamilton, how have they got a 9-second lead all of a sudden? That's crazy. Well, it's not. They don't have it all of a sudden, Lewis. They had it right when you boxed. So, and now they've just put up that Lando Norris has the fastest lap. So I see what our friend Verstappen is doing. He can box. So they've got Perez holding up the McLarens, and we're seeing Lance Stroll blocking off somebody. He's going to get a penalty for that, blocking off one of the Ferraris, I believe. Yeah, the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. So he's going to get a little warning penalty, probably 5 seconds for doing that. You cannot block them badly like that. If you can of course move across the track, and you can do all kinds of things to you can choose your line, but you can't deliberately block. And Lance Stroll has been guilty of that before. So obviously Leclerc is not a happy camper. He's got DRS. He goes to move around him, and this time he got him. And then does Stroll take it back? They've given up on the replay. So anyway, it's interesting watching now. Perez is not going to come in, so maybe yeah. So I think what they're doing. Okay, so here comes Fernando Alonso into the pits now. So the only guy that has not pitted that Verstappen cares about is his teammate. So, and he's got a full 21. I think he's looking to gain a 22-second lead so he can pit, come back out, and still just come back out in first place. So Lando Norris currently has the fastest lap. At the bottom end of the running order, it's interesting that both Hülkenberg and Magnussen now are back down there in 14th and 15th position. So Piastri's asking, what do you want me to do? At the moment, just look after your tires. That's great advice. Don't bother challenging your teammate for a position that doesn't matter too much. Take care of your tires. Make sure that at the way things are going, and now Verstappen has that 22.5 second lead that he needs to box, come in, get new tires, and get back out, and he will be in great shape. So anyway, back to Norris and Piastri. They can both just hold their positions right now, and both of them are going to get on the podium. And Lando Norris has found a lot of speed in that car, so I think they need to get Max Verstappen in for tires as quickly as possible. He's coming to the end of the window for those medium tires, but we've seen Max Verstappen before do some amazing things on those tires, and right now he's got his teammate Sergio Perez between those McLarens and himself. So Perez can add another 1 to 2 seconds between Verstappen and those McLarens when he wants to. But think about this, guys. Perez and Verstappen have exactly the same car. Verstappen is gaining 1 second per lap on his teammate, and we're watching Fernando Alonso battling Valtteri Bottas, and he has in fact won the battle. Of course, he had DRS, and poor Valtteri Bottas did not. So when the car behind you has DRS and you don't, you're a sitting duck. So we'll just have to work up through the field and see what happens. All right, so now Verstappen has a full 23-second lead on his teammate, and that would make it 28 seconds. So think about that. At the beginning of the race, Verstappen, the two McLarens, passed Lewis Hamilton right there going into the first corner. By the time the first half lap was finished, they were within half a second of each other. Since then, Verstappen has put 1 second between himself and the rest of the field every lap. That is, that's amazing. It's just amazing, because now we know, pretty much who, and Verstappen comes into the pits, and let's see how he does. Gets down to pit lane speed, comes in, and stops 1, 2, and out he goes. So a little over 2 seconds, 2.3 seconds. So he's going to come back out, and he is still going to be leading this race. And on a set of new tires, he went to hard tires. They put medium up there in the beginning, but it's hard. And there you see his teammate coming up behind him now as they go into the chicane, but he's still got a 2-3 second lead on Sergio Perez. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news at such an early stage in the race, but unless something goes wrong with Max Verstappen's car, it's not going to be a race. Lance is 2.4 seconds ahead. Okay, Alonso. Okay, who's he talking about? Lance. Oh, his teammate is 2.4 seconds ahead. So what's going to be interesting for Fernando is, am I going to get up past my teammate and then go for that? So right now we've got the 2 Red Bulls, the 2 McLarens, the 2 Mercedes, and the 2 Ferraris. Those are your top 8. Very nice driving by George Russell, by the way. He's come all the way up through the field and is now in 5th position. So that's some really nice driving. I would say, all in all, a good day for George Russell, but not such a great day, all in all, for the Mercedes. Come on, John, spit it out. So Lewis Hamilton is actually chasing his teammate for 5th position, but and now in comes Sergio Perez. He's coming in on lap 25 on hard tires. Okay, that's crazy. He had hard tires coming in on lap 25. That seems to me to be way out of whack. On those hard tires, he should have made it well into the 30s. Well, we'll see, because he's lost now 3-4 positions. You've got, if the podium was to happen right now, then you've got, as I predicted, a McLaren would be on the podium, but right now we've got 2 McLarens on podium. And get this, folks, Lewis Hamilton is 20 seconds behind Oscar Piastri. Get that? Where am I losing all the time? It's just the car is slow. A lot of it is straight line, then turns 11 and 14. Are you turning the engine down? I'm talking, this is communication between Hamilton and his team. They don't know why they're losing so much time. And they're losing, there's 19 seconds behind, and let's see what Lewis Hamilton is coming up on. That was Valtteri Bottas, he went past. But when you think about it, I think we're on lap, 22, 25? He's losing half to 3/4 of a second per lap. That's 26. So he's losing half to 3/4 of a second to the McLarens. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. He got past his teammate now. George Russell has slipped back to 5th. So your top 5 are Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Hamilton, and Russell. And then you've got the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, then the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, and then the Ferrari. Perez is going to have DRS here on this Ferrari in probably another lap and a half. So he's going to move back up into 6th position. And then actually, Perez, if he drives a nice race, could end up 4th. I don't think there's any way he's going to catch the McLarens, even with 26 laps gone. I don't think there's any way he's going to get up there and challenge the 2 McLarens today. But he could end up the day in 4th place, which would be quite respectable given his starting position. The guy though that I think should probably get driver of the day. Look, get this. We're not even halfway through the race, and I'm talking about driver of the day. But driver of the day so far to me is George Russell. Nothing like good old English tea. Wrong, it's green tea. And we're just now seeing Sergio Perez is going to pass Carlos Sainz, and he has passed Carlos Sainz, so he is up into 6th position, and now he's right on the tail of George Russell. So it's only a matter of a lap or two, and he's going to pass George Russell, and then he's going to catch what is, I say that weaving all over the place, trying to break the slipstream to stop, because Carlos Sainz, of course, now has DRS on Sergio Perez, who's got DRS on George Russell. So that's kind of a moot point, right? But anyway, and is he going to get back? Oh, it's a replay they're doing. Whoa, they came close to touching wheels there. So we're at the point of the race, guys, where those professionals at Sky Sports, they need something to talk about because the races kind of got boring for them. So now we're going to see lots of replays. So we just saw the replay of Sergio Perez going past Carlos Sainz. And Carlos Sainz now is being challenged by his teammate, Charles Leclerc. You know, kind of keeping track of all these names, it's like having a family of 20 kids, right? I'm sure families that have 20 kids, I'm sure they lose track of they can't keep up with their names. And we're watching now, Perez is going to pass Lewis Hamilton right now. He's got DRS, and he's going to take him on the inside all the way through, and in fact takes that position away from Hamilton. Hamilton just does, either the car is not sticking or the car doesn't have speed. And I'm thinking that by the way, Lewis has been talking to his team that the car doesn't have any speed because they asked him if he'd turned down the engine, and he said, no, I haven't made any changes at all. So if the car is sticking and it just doesn't have speed, what could have happened so dramatically from yesterday? Where they don't have a DRS all the time like they did yesterday, but still they should have better straight line speed, and even through some of these corners, better speed than what they're showing. I mean, that Red Bull just went right past Lewis Hamilton. Some very nice driving on both drivers' parts there, because they were wheel to wheel going through those turns, and neither one panicked. And who's coming into the pits? It is George Russell. George Russell is pitting. All right, so let's see how he did. That's right, he hasn't pitted. This is he's on hard tires, so that's about right. 30. Well, really nice pit stop. Not so nice. Well, nice. 2.9 seconds. It's funny how time passes faster when you're talking, right? So anyway, he's going to come back out in 13th position. So he's well down the field. He's just come out behind the McLaren, the Haas of Hulkenberg, those Haas cars should be doing better than what they are now for as long as they've been in this sport, and they've had stability at the top. Gene Haas is stuck with Gunther as the team principal there through these years. So there's something else amiss at the Haas team. But the good news right now is MoneyGram is getting lots and lots of advertising because George Russell is fighting Hulkenberg. And so we're going to see a overtake replay of, wow, Fernando Alonso just went by somebody like he was standing still. That was crazy. Even with DRS, maybe something was wrong with that car that he went by. So Sergio Perez is on medium tires. So I still think he got off those hard tires too soon, but maybe the tires, those hard tires, are not holding up as well as they thought they were. So so it's Lewis Hamilton finally getting past Hulkenberg there. So at least George Russell, not Lewis Hamilton. So at least those cars are faster than the Haas cars. There's some good news. Danny Ricciardo is in pit lane. We haven't seen him. Nice pit stop for Danny Ricciardo. Where is Ricciardo? Right now, he's in dead last. but that's because he's just changed tires and everybody else had already done it. He's gone to the medium tire. So I think Danny Ricciardo could well end up finishing close to the top 10, maybe in the top 10 for these folks. That would be a really nice start or restart to his Formula One. I'd say restart to his Formula One career. Right now he's trailing his and Perez has just got the fastest lap. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, back to Danny Ricciardo. Right now he is he's about 2-3 seconds behind his teammate, maybe more than that, 6-7 seconds. But with new tires and everything, so that means when he came in the pits, he was around that 9th, 10th position. So hadn't been taking much notice of the middle cars, because we are seeing some quite interesting racing going on right now. George Russell has just moved past Yuki Tsunoda, Ricciardo's teammate. So he's now moved back up 1, 2, 3 places from where he was. He's behind Alex Albon in that Williams car, who is hanging around that 9th, 10th position. So we're going to see a replay here of George Russell going past Yuki Tsunoda. So the spectators are getting a really entertaining race from the middle of the field. We're seeing lots of passing in the middle of the field. So we're getting lots of really good action back down there. And everybody except Perez, Russell, and Ricciardo are on hard tires. They're on medium. Initial thoughts on this compound. So far, the grip is not bad, but the tire feels definitely a bit more stiff. It's easier to have a moment or whatever. Okay, so that's Verstappen talking about the tires that he has, and who we got coming in the pits. Alex Albon, maybe? Yes, it's Alex Albon coming in to pits for a tire change. So, and these guys are started on the hard tire, so this kind of makes sense. So we're at lap 32. Remember I said that I thought Sergio Perez came in way too early. So tires on. Nice pit stop there, probably 3 seconds, 2.9. Anyway, yeah, a nice pit stop there. So now Alex Albon finds himself trailing his teammate by 10 seconds for those Williams. And Williams last week had a not last week, but the week before at the British Grand Prix had a really nice race. They're kind of struggling a little bit on this track, I think. I don't think that it's the car per se. I think it's the track in this case. And so we're just seeing now that they're predicting that Sergio Perez will pass Lewis Hamilton in 5 laps. And get this, folks, he's 3.5 seconds behind Hamilton right now. And they're predicting he will catch him in 5 seconds. You understand what that means? That means he's making up about 3/4 of a second or more per lap on Lewis Hamilton. The guy that was in pole position. It's crazy. So right now, Verstappen, I guess, is taking it easy. He's only 10 seconds up on Lando Norris, and Lando Norris is 5 seconds up, 6 seconds up on his teammate Piastri, and Piastri is not 7-8 seconds ahead of Hamilton. So let's see, Perez now, who started 9th, is up to 5th, and something just popped up on my laptop here that I'm live streaming with, so we'll just ignore that. That's the one thing that, I love technology, but some of the things, these pop-up ads, and it just drives me nuts. That I should only get to see what I want to see, not what everybody else wants me to see. Don't you agree? If you agree, say yes. I know I can't hear you. Anyway, what's going on here? Alonso, where is he? He's 6 seconds behind Leclerc. and he is talking about catching Leclerc. Well, that will be very nice, make it very interesting. Leclerc is 1.5 seconds behind his teammate, and sure enough, Perez now in the last lap has knocked another second off between the distance between him and Hamilton. Those Mercedes guys have got to be wondering what's going on. George Russell is not making any dent on Valtteri Bottas, who is in 10th position. So the Alfa Romeos continue to have a decent day. Not a great day like they did in qualifying, but at least they're not at the bottom of the at the bottom of the field. Joe Granu is down there in 14th, but I'm sure he'll make. I'm going to predict that the Alfa Romeos are going to be up there close to the top 10, maybe even inside. Maybe they'll get some real points today, both for the championship for themselves, but also for the car. And the championships for the car, McLaren is going to be really happy. Mercedes is not going to be so happy, but I think Mercedes is still in second position with McLaren's and the Aston Martins. But I think McLaren right now are sitting really pretty. If they can maintain this for the rest of the season, they're going to come in second in the Constructors' Championship. So I don't know who they've got working there at McLaren, but they are certainly making some really nice changes to those cars that are having significant benefits for the drivers. And George Russell has just gone by Valtteri Bottas for that 10th position. So, but he did have DRS and used DRS to do it. So. Maybe George Russell's car is not as bad as Hamilton's. I don't know. Excuse me, let me get some more tea. Tea's starting to get chilly. Anyway, so we are right about halfway through this race now. We're on lap 37 of 70, so it'll just a little over halfway through, and now they're asking for the overtaking award for the day. And wow, didn't you just hear me say that Verstappen had a 9-second lead on Lando Norris, and all of a sudden it's 11 seconds. So maybe excuse me, maybe Verstappen was having a little rest. They're going into the mid stages of the race, and Sergio Perez gap is 7 seconds. Podium is on. Ooh, all right. So Perez thinks that he can make up the 7 seconds between himself and Oscar Piastri to take podium. So that's going to be quite exciting to watch. As George Russell goes by. No, that's a Haas car, so that's not George Russell. That is Lance Stroll. Sometimes the colors coming across on the TV between the Aston Martin and the Mercedes. Sometimes it confuses my eyes, and I have a tough time making out whether it's a Mercedes or an Aston Martin. So anyway, Stroll now is in 14th position. His teammate Alonso is in 8th, and Alonso is 7 seconds behind. 7 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. So we got 7 seconds now between Russell and Alonso. So that's a battle. That's not going to happen too much. Yuki Tsunoda is 10 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas, and now Perez is 1.4 seconds behind Hamilton. So this is going to be in 2 laps. We're going to find Perez in 4th position. He does not yet have a DRS, but that is going to come about very soon. He's 1.5 seconds behind. So maybe it's going to take him another 3 laps to pass, because this is this circuit, as we've talked about, is quite a bit shorter than most other of the circuits. But the drivers love driving on this circuit, and that's because of the fast corners. And I think probably this circuit is a little easier on the bodies. There are a couple of really, long sweeping chicanes, but for the most part, they're quite fast corners. But even the chicanes, as I said, they're long and sweeping, so they are not as hard as they come up on the turn one. That is quite a nasty corner, and cars are probably slowing down there to around 45, 50 miles an hour. But the rest of it is pretty nice going. And Perez now is only a tenth of a second away from having the DRS enabled. Now he's 4 hundredths of a second away. Lando Norris, what's he got to say? What are your thoughts on the plan A versus plan C? It depends what everyone else is like. To be honest, the tires are not bad, but they don't feel that good. Okay? The tires are not bad, but they don't feel that good. Interesting. And we've just seen who and the Williams. Who was it? Alex Albon. Go past Kevin Magnussen. So Albon is moving back up through the field. His buddy Logan Sargent has just been passed by Danny Ricciardo. So Ricciardo's moving back up through the field, and of course, the DRS makes all the difference when you're coming up to passing. And Alex Albon made that pass look quite easy. You know that what's interesting is Kevin Magnussen is the number one driver for the Haas team, but he is consistently losing out every race and every qualifying to his new teammate Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg is the replacement for Mick Schumacher, who was taken out of his seat because of his inability to keep the car on the track. And that really wasn't the real reason. The real reason was that, yes, it was his inability to keep the car on the track, but every time he left the track, it was costing them, $500,000 or $1 million to fix the car again. And so they just got tired of spending money fixing the car after he left the track. So in that aspect, Haas, they've had one or two little incidents, but they certainly haven't had the repair bills this year that they had last year. And so we're watching Joe Granu now coming up on the Haas car of Hülkenberg. Joe Granu, of course, in the Alfa Romeo, and they've just switched back, and now we are watching Sergio Perez, who has not made any time up this last lap on his rival there, Lewis Hamilton. But now we're watching him. He's down, he's within half a second. So he now has DRS. So it is, I predicted 3 laps ago it would be 2 to 3 laps. So I was a little off on that because it's going to take him the rest of this lap. We're on lap 41. So it's going to take him every bit of this lap to get past him. He's going to have to wait for a nice little DRS like he has right now. And he is right up on the tail, so he's going to pick his moment. But remember, he's chasing a 7-time world champion who knows how to battle in close quarters with these other cars. So, it doesn't matter. He's going to lose that position. And this is good news for Oscar Piastri, because while he is fighting Lewis Hamilton for 4th position, he being Perez, that is, Oscar Piastri is gaining time. So this little battle is quite beneficial to Piastri, who Hamilton right now is right at 3.5 seconds behind Piastri. So every moment they're fighting, and Perez has DRS. Is he going to get past him on this time? I don't think. Is he? No. But the next one he will. I mean, he's so close. And of course Hamilton does not have DRS because he's so far behind. Although it's interesting, he's building up some speed, which is why he's making it difficult for Perez. He's really pushing there now, because now he has dropped that time to Piastri down to 2.5 seconds. Leclerc is just coming on the radio. What's he having to say, I wonder? Well, they're not going to show it. I wish they wouldn't do that to us. They put up the Leclerc radio. Of course, if I had sound on, I could probably hear it. But even with sound on, it's so difficult to hear that you really don't get it. So Perez is really struggling to get past Hamilton here. This reminds me of a race about 6-8 races ago, when he was battling Leclerc for third position to get on podium. And he didn't manage to do it, and he's struggling here with Lewis Hamilton. So, sorry, folks, the allergies are creeping back in badly here, but we shall battle through. We've only got another, 30 laps to go, not quite 30 laps, so we're 2/3 of the way through, and we've got a battle now. George Russell is battling Fernando Alonso, but they're showing him 2.5 seconds. Whoa, and they're showing Sergio Perez going past Lewis Hamilton. He doesn't quite make it. So Hamilton fought him off that time. I don't think Hamilton's going to succeed down the straightaway, because Perez has DRS. Hamilton doesn't, but Hamilton did a nice job there of fighting for position and winning it. But let's see, as we come down through the last couple of turns here and we come down to the straightaway, let's see how Perez manages to do. Actually, Hamilton got through those turns a little quicker than Perez did. So obviously his car may not have straight line speed, but now he's complaining to his team that he's losing the rear. And of course, that's because he's really pushed hard the last 2 or 3 laps to maintain that position on Sergio Perez. And now we've got Magnussen in pit lane for tires. What are we on, 43? So that's a little early. He's looking to... who's this in pit lane coming down? This is Perez. Perez is coming down pit lane. Really interesting going on now. Piastri's in the pits. So let's see what's happening. All of these guys that are on a 2-stop strategy are now coming in for the second stop, because we've got 27 laps left. That's a lot. Oof. That's a lot they must be going, they're all going to the medium tires. So that kind of makes sense, but that's on the outside window for a medium tire, 27 laps. If you remember earlier, they were intimating that anywhere between, anyway, let me finish my thought, and then I'll get to where my brain was suddenly going. So the lap window was 17 to 25, and they're looking to get 27, which not so bad. But anyway, the thing that made me suddenly look was Verstappen now is up to 19 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. If you remember, it was only, 10, 15 laps ago that I said it was 9 seconds, and then it was 11 seconds. So Verstappen, and it's obvious what Verstappen is doing. He is opening up he's got one more tire change to go. So he's opening up a big enough lead so that he can go ahead and pit and get back out and still have that maintain that first position. So Piastri is pitted, Perez is pitted, Sainz and Hamilton and Norris have not. So that is going to put, let's see, where's Perez is, Hamilton is not pitted, so Hamilton's in big trouble. They've pulled a fast one on Hamilton here now, because if he should pit right now, he's going to come out, let's see, he's got, say, 12, make that 12. He's got Perez has got 13 seconds. So Perez is going to come out about 4 to 5 seconds ahead of Hamilton. So bad strategy there on the part of Mercedes. Good strategy on the part of and we're watching Lando Norris now come in to the pits for a tyre change. So this is probably some smart work here by McLaren. They've got 25 laps to go, puts on the medium tyres, and that puts Hamilton up into second place, but some 24, 25 seconds behind Verstappen. Excuse me, and Perez has just come in with the fastest lap, and we've got now Carlos Sainz in the pit. So all of your top 10 really now have pitted, with the exception of Verstappen, who's got a 32-second lead on Hamilton, who is, and he only has an 8-second lead on Norris. Think about that. He hasn't pitted, and he's got an 8-second lead. So we got Fernando Alonso in the pits, and a little problem there with the left rear wheel. Took him 3.5 seconds. Let's see if we can see really what happened. It's stuck on. So they're having problems with the wheels sticking on the splines here. So I'm having a tough time getting the wheels off and getting the new ones on. So let's see what's going to happen here. We've got, is Perez going to challenge Piastri? He might. He's 1.1 second behind and probably gaining. So can Perez make a podium? They're thinking so, but let's see. Right now, they would be right. He doesn't have DRS yet, but another lap, and he will have a DRS, and he's got the fastest lap. So if we're going to keep doing this, he's going to, Piastri's going to have to put, and now Perez has got DRS in controlling Leclerc speeding in pit lane. Ouch! There's a 5-second penalty, Charles. And so where's Charles now? He's 10. That's going to put him behind. No, it's going to put him about 2 seconds behind Alonso right now. But Alonso and them just came in for tires, so they're going to make that up. So Leclerc is going to find himself back in finishing the race in 8th or 9th position because of that speeding penalty. And Piastri is doing a good job of holding off Sergio Perez. Let's see what Hamilton says. We'll pick the pace up. Keep the pace as high as you can. That's his team. This is as fast as it goes, mate. That's what I'm saying. So he says this. His team is telling him to pick up the pace, and he's going, the car's going as fast as I can make it go. So that's really funny. But Sergio Perez, Oscar Piastri is doing a really good job of holding Perez off. So let's see. This has happened with Hamilton, and now it's happening with Piastri, and is he going to get past him? Let's see. Oh, yes, because he has DRS, and Piastri didn't. But Piastri's holding him right there. He's staying with him, going right on the outside of the corner, and he goes off the track. Ooh, that was a tough one right there. Poor guy. I'm surprised he managed to maintain control of that car. But the good news for Piastri is he has DRS and Sergio Perez does not. So as long as he can stay inside that 1 second mark going forward here, he can take that position back. So we probably see some battling going on here, which is ultimately going to be third position. But we're going to see some battling going on for third position. So right now, Perez has made it to the podium, which kind of is my prediction that one of the McLaren cars would make it to podium is going to probably play out to be true. Kind of sad that Oscar didn't make it there. He did an amazing job. They're doing a replay of the overtake right there. Black and white flags for car 81, Piastri, because of track limits, where he got forced off. Yeah, he got forced off the track by by Perez. So sorry about that. And yes, Leclerc does have a 5-second penalty for speeding in pit lane. So does Perez push you off in turn 2? Did Perez push you off? He didn't leave me much space. Okay. So his team is coming in and asking, and Perez didn't leave me. He did end up leaving the track, but and he should have probably left him a little more. And so now the race control is actually looking at that to see, because if it turns out that Perez actually pushed him off, then he will have to give that position back to Oscar Piastri. So interesting things going on here towards the end of the race with just 20 laps left to go. It's been a little more exciting than I thought it was going to be there in lap 2021, and that's because the upper field and the midfields had a lot going on. The back of the pack, still not a lot. We've got Hulkenberg in 14th, Sargent 15th, Yuki Tsunoda 16th, Joe Granu 17th, Magnussen back in 18th. So those are your running cars. If you remember, the Alpines took each other out on the very first lap. I think through no fault of their own. I think Esteban Ocon, and that's they're showing the replay of Leclerc speeding. If you remember, I said, "Whoa," because all of his tires lit up when he hit the brake pedal to come in, but he didn't get it. He didn't get it soon enough, so it's cost him. Turn 2 in Piastri and Perez, right? Forcing the other car off the track. So what's going to happen here is that Perez is going to have to give that position back, which will ultimately be the third position. So they're either going to hit Perez. Well, he's going to do two things. They're going to make him give the position back, and they're going to hit him with a 5-second penalty. So Perez just knocked himself, if I'm correct, off the podium by that overtake. So because he did not leave Piastri any room, Piastri had to leave the track, which meant that who's coming into the pits? Oh, it's Hamilton. So Hamilton now is pitting, and let's see where that's going to leave. One, two. That's kind of a slow pit stop for Hamilton. Yeah, 2.8 seconds. So that's going to push him back, maybe 8th ahead, just ahead of his teammate. They're showing 5th right now. He's got back in 5th, 7 seconds behind Piastri, who is 5 seconds behind Perez. But don't worry, Oscar, you're going to get your position back plus 5 seconds, which is going to put you back into third position. Hamilton is on the medium tire. He does not have the car, as has been proven all day, to get past the McLarens. So your top 5, though, are going to be Verstappen, Norris, and it's going to depend whether it's Perez or Piastri, and then Hamilton. So either way, a magnificent day for McLaren. Not such a great day for Mercedes. I'm sure after qualifying yesterday, they thought they were going to be challenging for first place, and in actual fact, the whole team has lost, and now they're bringing in Max Verstappen, who is 28, 29 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. So they'll just come in and have a nice leisurely pit stop for them, of course, being somewhere in that 2.5 second mark. And we're watching George Russell, who has the fastest lap, strangely enough, right now. We're watching from the helicopter view. So Russell's got the fastest lap. Verstappen is coming into the pits right now. He'll get down to pit lane speed, and there he goes, under 50 miles an hour, and comes in and stop, 1, 2, and go. And that's a very nice clean stop, probably 2.6 seconds. So he will come out about, I'm thinking, 6-7 seconds ahead of Norris. So there's one of the Williams cars unlapping himself, but that can't be right. They're saying 33 seconds, but that's not right. That's the old time. It's going to be 8 or 9 seconds, and the poor Williams car just unlapped himself, and Verstappen just lapped him again. So yeah, okay, that's more like it. So Norris is 12 seconds behind. 12 seconds behind Verstappen, and Perez is 8 seconds behind Norris, and Piastri is 6 seconds behind. But like I said, I believe that Perez is going to have to give that position back, and they should give him a 5-second penalty for forcing the driver off the track. So, and that decision should be coming up here pretty soon. They got to give the Sky Sports commentators something to talk about. So they'll come up with that, and then the Sky Sports guys will do a nice replay, and so that'll get them another 4 or 5 minutes of airtime to talk about things. And we're watching now Valtteri Bottas coming up on the Williams car of Alex Albon, and is he going to get past him? He's only about 2-3 feet behind him at that point. So that's not very good handling. That takes away the downforce on the front of his car. So I'm sure he didn't enjoy that little piece of driving very much. But he's got DRS here, so he should be getting past him pretty quickly, and moving himself up into 11th place, which will then be 5 seconds behind Stroll. We got Stroll and Alonso back to back. Stroll is 7 seconds behind Alonso. Alonso is 7 seconds behind Russell. And Russell is 2 seconds behind Carlos Sainz, who is 5 seconds behind his teammate. And Hamilton and Leclerc is 5 seconds behind Hamilton. And Piastri is losing a little time to Perez, but making a little time on Hamilton. So, I think that the stewards are really struggling with what to do about Sergio Perez forcing Piastri off the track. But if you gain an advantage by forcing somebody off the track, you have to give it back. So, and now Max Verstappen has just taken away the fastest lap from George Russell at 1:25.04. If you remember, the qualifying for pole was 1:16. And like I said, typically race conditions, you have anywhere from 3 to depending on the track, 3 to 5 second difference between race lap times and qualifying lap times. And the reason is, of course, that they can use the setup is completely different. They don't put as much fuel in the car, and they can use DRS anytime they want. So Hamilton is he's gained about 1/4 of a second in the last lap on Piastri, but Oscar Piastri versus. So they're saying that at this current rate, that Lewis Hamilton can catch Oscar Piastri in about 3 to 4 laps, which would mean Piastri's got something going wrong with his car, because I don't think Hamilton's car is 1 second a lap faster than Piastri's. So I think they're wrong there. But we'll see. We'll see. He is clicking down, and we're watching now Bottas come up again on Alex Albon. I thought he'd managed to pass him earlier, but obviously he didn't, because he just tried doing it again. And of course, Alex Albon has become quite the driver. If you don't remember, Alex Albon for a brief period of time after Pierre Gasly was the number 2 driver for Red Bull. And at the end of the season, they weren't that impressed with Alex Albon. And so they moved him to a reserve driver, and they brought in Sergio Perez, who is currently the number 2 driver for Red Bull. Well, the following year, so Alex had about a year out without a car, but the year later, that would be 2022, last year, maybe it was 2021. Years go by so fast, especially when you get a little older. There's so many marbles going to turn one offline, it's crazy. It takes like a whole lap to get them off. Okay, all right, strange. So he's complaining about all the marbles that are being left on the track. The marbles are not the glass marbles that you play with, folks. These are little round rubber balls that come off and made from when the tires are going through these turns. They're gripping so tightly, they create tiny little marbles. It's like a little round, not dust, but a little bigger than dust on the track. And so that's what he's complaining about. And so watching against Valtteri Bottas, still struggling to get past Alex Albon, and we'll get back to the Alex Albon story. So then Williams took him on, and he has really shined. He's been consistently up there in the middle of the pack, and they're just telling Lando Norris that his gap to Perez is 6.2 seconds, so it's 6.2. We've got 14 laps to go. On this, I don't think that Perez is making up half a second a lap. So I think Norris is comfortable there in his second position. Unfortunately, whatever happened with Oscar Piastri after that pass, and it looks like the stewards aren't going to do anything, because if they were going to do it, they would have done it by now, which I find kind of disappointing, because Perez was definitely in the wrong there, and it looks like they're just going to let it slide. And who is that exceeding track limits? That's one of the Mercedes. It is the Mercedes of Hamilton, who just went outside. And there he's doing it again. I wonder why they're not going to give him a black and white flag, because that's on this lap, and he is knocking on the door of Oscar Piastri, who he's going to pass because he's got DRS. So Piastri is going to end up coming in fifth, which is still an amazing day for Oscar Piastri, and an amazing day for McLaren to come in second and fifth. So Hamilton's not going to get on the podium today, that's for sure, because he's not going to get past Perez, but he's now getting past Piastri and taking over that fifth place. So the Mercedes have found some speed since they changed tires some 8 to 10 laps ago, but I don't think they've got enough speed to get onto the podium. So it's going to be a really good day for Sergio Perez, actually, because he started ninth and now he's up in third. And we'll get a replay of the pass of Oscar Piastri here by Lewis Hamilton. Takes him on the inside of the turn, and of course you see all of the young Mercedes fans jumping up and cheering Lewis Hamilton. But really, if I'm Mercedes, I don't have a lot to cheer about. I'm 11 seconds behind Sergio Perez right now, and I've got 12 laps to go in this race. And there's no way that I'm going to do any better than fourth. And I started off in the pole. Not a good showing at all. Max Verstappen is going to end the race with all of the points, most of the points, not all, but obviously the winner's points, plus at this moment, the fastest lap. Are they going to, where's George Russell? They'll bring George Russell in, put a set of soft tires on him, and let him get the fastest lap and take that 1 point away from Max Verstappen. They'll probably do that with about 3 laps to go. But he is driving a very comfortable, a very steady race. Ever since he took the lead, he's never really been challenged for it. He's going to now have, at the end of this race, 281 points towards the championship. And at some point here, and it's going to be fairly soon, they're going to say that he could sit out the rest of the year, not score a single point, and he's still going to win the Formula One World Championship again this year. That would make 3 years in a row for Max Verstappen, and 2 years in a row Constructors' Championship for the Red Bull. And so let's see, we've got Verstappen's just lapped Valtteri Bottas, and let's see, who is that behind? Somebody behind Verstappen. Their right front air spoiler is flapping like it's loose. There's Oscar Piastri going by. He's not that far behind Lewis Hamilton. And we got Lando Norris. You got Perez 5 seconds behind Lando Norris, and like I said earlier, I don't believe Perez can make it, especially now we're on the 60th lap, so he would have to make up a lot of time, almost half a second a lap on Lando Norris, and I don't think he's got the car to do that. So the top three is going to be the podium's going to go to Verstappen, Norris, Perez. So Perez might not have had a great start to the weekend, coming in ninth in qualifying, but he's certainly going to finish with a really good result for the weekend, and that's going to make his team very happy, because there's been a lot of talk of late of Perez being on the bubble there of the Red Bull team for that number 2 driver spot. I don't know who they would put in his place, but anyway. So Piastri is gonna have a great day. He's going to finish in 5th position. I'm talking about all the finishing. I have to get out of the way. So many blue flags. They're not racing for anything. Oh, that's Norris talking about. He's lapping a bunch of cars, and they are. He just lapped a Haas car, and he's complaining because they're not getting out of the way fast enough to let him get by. In fact, it's not a Haas car, that's a AlphaTauri, so that would be, let's see, where's the AlphaTauris? Oh, right, that would be Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. Where's his teammate Ricardo? Ricardo's come up to 13th position. Wow, he started 13th. He's now 13th. That's a really nice drive for Danny Ricciardo, his teammate, who is Yuki Tsunoda is quote unquote the number 1 driver on that team, and he's going to beat him by about 4 to 5 slots. He's about 4 seconds behind. Let's see, where is it? Sorry. He's 3 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas. Can he catch him in 9 laps now? I don't see that happening. But, a nice steady race for Ricciardo, proving that, he still has it. He's maintained a nice position, worked well with his team. And we're just watching... We're watching Verstappen now lap more of the cars as well. So Verstappen's going to finish with about a 22-second lead. Perez is catching Lando Norris, but with 8 laps to go and 3.2 seconds, I think it's going to be very, very difficult. And in fact, they are predicting that they being the professionals on Sky Sports are predicting. Verstappen, everything going okay? I'm just checking in. So that's crazy. Formula One race, everything okay. So anyway, back to where I was. I don't see any way that Norris is going to lose that 2nd place podium to Sergio Perez. There's just not enough time. We're on the 63rd of 70 laps. So. It's going to do. And while we've got a couple of minutes here, why don't I go ahead and thank our sponsors for today's live stream, and that is Thenology, a small data center in Austin, Texas, providing everyone with co-location and private cloud, public cloud, storage, disaster recovery. They provide all 7 layers, all the 7 stacked layers of technology. So please give the folks at Thenology a call and let them earn your business at Thenology.com. And then, of course, it's Give, Send, Go, the crowdfunding entity that has zero censorship associated with who they're going to help. And we just watched Lando Norris go over track limits right there. But back to the folks at Give Send Go. You can't help what happens to you in life, but you can be in charge of who you're going to get to help you. And the folks at Give Send Go are out there to help at the time that you, your family, your friends, or even just folks that you don't know that really need help, that have happened on hard times through no fault of their own. Please go to givesendgo.com and get involved with their crowdfunding business. The last one for this week, of course, is Moms for Liberty. You heard me talk a lot about all of the great work they're doing there at Moms for Liberty. Moms for Liberty is trying to get these school teachers and school boards to focus on the job of educating the kids that will give them an education that will be good for them when they get out of school, maybe go to college or go to trade school, but it's going to help them earn a living in their life. Learning about transsexuals, bisexuals, whatever sexuals, and race theories and all that kind of stuff is not going to help them earn a decent living in life. Learning math and English and science and all of those things, it will. So please go to momsforliberty.org. That is momsforliberty.org, and join a chapter near you. And like I said, George Russell is talking to his pit about pitting in 2 to 3 laps from now and snatching back that fastest lap of the day from Verstappen. Sorry, I'm reading the current voting for driver of the day is Perez, Norris, and Piastri. So I would probably agree with that. Perez has done a really nice job of coming up 6 places, but also I wouldn't put George Russell out of there. He came from much further back. He's currently in 8th position, and it's been obvious that the Mercedes is just not the car that everybody thought that it was. I mean, they're going to finish 25, 28. They're going to finish 34 seconds behind the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, and they're going to finish 4 seconds behind the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, who started in 9th position, and Hamilton, of course, started on the pole position. So, not all of the things that Mercedes hoped were happening are happening. They've maybe got some speed on this track. One, because of the faster corners, but at the end of the day, when it mattered, when it came to race conditions, Mercedes still have a long way to go to catch the Red Bull. I mean, a long way to go. McLaren, on the other hand, yes, they still have a long way to go. They're 25 seconds behind Verstappen, but they've got a lot less distance to cover in terms of improvements than does Mercedes. They've made some really nice improvements of late, and we're going to see George Russell take away the 7th position from Carlos Sainz here in just a couple of laps. We got 4 laps to go. He's got DRS. Carlos Sainz doesn't, and in fact here he's going past him right now down the straightaway using DRS, and there was nothing Carlos Sainz could do about that. But what's interesting is talking of the Mercedes, it looks like one or two things. Either George Russell is a slightly better driver now than Lewis Hamilton, or the setup in George Russell's car is better than the setup in Lewis Hamilton's car, because George Russell's made up a lot of time in a lot of places on Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton's gone from 1st to 4th. Russell's gone from like 16th, 17th now to 7th. And so as they show a replay of him passing Carlos Sainz. So really a pretty good day for George Russell, a miserable day for Lewis Hamilton. As he said earlier, when they were asking him to drive that car faster, and he said, it's going as fast as it'll go. Was it going as fast as it can go, or was it going as fast as Lewis Hamilton could make it go? Because they thought at one time that he was tuning back the engine a little bit and losing on straight line speed. But I think probably what more to the point was happening is that Lewis Hamilton, although I mentioned earlier, had seemed to have better cornering ability than a couple of the cars that he passed, but maybe compared to some of the other drivers out there, the McLaren drivers and the Red Bull drivers and his own teammate George Russell, Hamilton just is not able to get that car around the track as quickly as those other guys do. Not because it's a fault of the car, but it's just, as I mentioned, after that 2021 season, I thought that George Russell had lost a little bit of it. The it being the one thing that the very, very best have compared to the rest of the field. And right now, it certainly looks to me like Lewis Hamilton's lost a little bit of it. Probably all of the Mercedes Lewis Hamilton fans out there don't want to hear it, but watching these two cars, which are pretty much the same car, George Russell has been able to get a lot more out of his car than Lewis Hamilton has been able to get out of his car today. George Russell has moved up some 10, 12 places. Lewis Hamilton has lost 4 places. And the other interesting thing that's happened, folks, is that I think, maybe Sergio Perez just decided that he'd be happy with 3rd place, because now Lando Norris has opened up another 2 seconds on him. At one time, he was 3.6 seconds behind Norris. At this point, he's 5.1 seconds. So my gut feel is, with just 2 laps left to go, we're on lap 68, that he's decided that he's going to be content with not take any risks and be content with 3rd place position, which is exactly what I would do as well. So sorry, we're on just started lap 68, so we have 3 laps to go. But I think that that's the way they're thinking now. Lewis Hamilton, for whatever reasons, making up a little bit of, like I said, the other guys have backed off a little bit, but Lewis Hamilton's only 2.5 seconds now behind Perez. Perez is not going to let him make up any time to put himself in danger. But anyways, so I think we can predict the top 5 are going to be Verstappen, Norris, Perez, Hamilton, and Piastri. Another disappointing day for Ferrari, coming in 6th and 8th. A good day for George Russell, a great day for McLaren, and a great day actually for Sergio Perez to give his team the confidence of knowing that they've made the right decision, is putting him in that car, and that he is the right teammate for Max Verstappen to ensure that Red Bull make the Constructors' Championship theirs this year. And I'm going to predict he's got a contract through 2024, and I don't see them changing that. And we've got Lewis Hamilton really making a serious charge. He's gained almost a second in the last lap with just 2 laps to go. He's down to 1.9 seconds. Sergio Perez, we've got a yellow flag in sector 2. What has happened in sector? It's gone back to green. So what that meant is somebody lost it, went off the track, spun around, and got back on. And all is good. All is well that ends well. But anyway, so now Sergio Perez Lewis is down to 1.7 seconds. We're coming up on the end of lap 69. Logan Sargent is what happened on that yellow flag. So let's see what happened here. Oh, he lost it going through the turn is what happened. Yeah. So he just pushed a little too hard and spun out, and Esteban Ocon did a good job. Not Esteban Ocon, who is Valtteri Bottas. Yeah, it's Esteban Ocon did a good job of missing him. And now we have a Williams car coming into the pits. That is Logan Sargent. Something got flat spots on the tire, maybe? No, his day is over. So something happened with that car that caused him to spin out, not with the driver. So yeah, so apparently that was not Logan Sargent's fault. So anyway, we're now on the last lap. 1.6 seconds for gap between Hamilton and Perez. He's not going to make that up because he does not have DRS. And like I said, it's a couple of miles. So, but a gallant effort, I would say. And probably what's interesting also is that car of Hamilton's really started to come into its own as we get to the end of this race. It's really interesting. It's going to be a 33-second win for Verstappen. Norris is going to come in second by 3.5 seconds over Perez, and Perez is going to keep Hamilton off the podium by about 1.7, 1.8 seconds. At the bottom end of the field, you got 3 out right now. You've got Sargent, Ocon, and Gasly. So it wasn't Ocon. Who was? Oh, Joe Granu. I'm sorry, it was Joe Granu, who is Alfa Romeo's teammate. Alfa Romeo kind of disappointed me a little bit today, and I wore your shirt, guys, because I expected you to both finish in the top 10. Did not come to pass. Great day for the McLarens. A day for both the Ferraris and for Aston Martin coming in 9th and 10th. Yes, they made points. Yes, they did. But something in the last couple of races, the British Grand Prix in this one, really, and Verstappen takes the black and white flag with Norris, and then Perez coming in right after them, and then followed by Lewis Hamilton. So that, folks, is the way that this Grand Prix is going to end. I thought it was going to be really boring around there, lap 20, lap 22, but as it turned out, lots of middle field stuff to keep it really exciting. Yeah, we knew who was going to win the race by the end of halfway through the first lap, but that's not what Formula One is all about. It's all about the teams and the positions and the different drivers that make it, an exciting thing to watch. If they're just if they are just in DRS trains, which we didn't see any of today, guys. We did not have a DRS train, but certainly the race turned out to be a lot better, a lot more exciting than we had hoped for. Not maybe hoped for, but that we thought at the beginning. So it's on to the next one. To be honest, I don't know when. Maybe there's a one next week. I'll have to have a look. But until we come to the next live stream, which are going to continue to do, folks. Every week now we're doing the live stream and we're posting up on the podcast sites. And while we're talking about doing that, let's go ahead and give our producer and all things technical guy, Andre Kuhn, a big thank you for everything that he does. We're kind of, when it comes to people, we're kind of an all volunteer organization. The sponsors help with the costs of putting it on, which, to be honest, is not a lot. We pay for the pipe and we pay for the WordPress stuff. Oops, I'm giving WordPress a little plug there, but so there's some things that we pay for. It doesn't add up to a lot, but as I thank Andre for all of the work that he does, I just want to remind you all that he does all this just for the love of the sport. And they're showing a picture of Verstappen's tires, and they are a mess. I mean, it is incredible what a mess his front tires are. And that's what's happened there, is he's picked up a bunch of the marbles and everything. So anyway, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors again. Thank you to Thenology at thenology.com. Thank you to GiveSendGo at GiveSendGo.com. And thank you to the folks at Moms for Liberty at momsforliberty.org. So until next week, this is Jonathan Steele with the Formula One News Hour saying have a great week, folks, and we'll see you at the next race.